Hello everyone and welcome to this Campus Executive. I'm here with ESSEC Business School and we're going to be talking about the Global MBA, the GMBA. In order to talk about it, I have the pleasure to welcome David Sluss, the Academic Director, and he's a Professor of Leadership and Organizational Behavior. Also, one of current participants, one of the best I've heard of, Sarah Abdelrazik. They're both here to answer my question, but first we're going to start with the corporate speech. The corporate speech, few minutes, few seconds to introduce us to the GMBA. David, we're listening to you.
Sure. So first, I'm honored to be here to talk about the Global MBA. It's something I'm very passionate about. So personally, I've researched and worked with new leader development for many years. And so when I came to ESSEC several years ago and they asked me to look at the idea of helping out with as an academic director for the Global MBA, I jumped at the chance. It's something that I'm very passionate about and honored to do. So the Global MBA for me is a transformative experience for those that want to become leaders within business. However, we focus on a couple things. So we focus on becoming a leader that's responsible, that's digital savvy, and also innovative. So as we do that, we do this in a very personalized approach. So folks can come in, and with our new design that we're launching in this coming fall in 2024, folks can come in with being able to customize their experience, that they can look at concentrations across 3 areas: sustainability, digital leadership, innovation, entrepreneurship, and mix and match that with learning about careers in the luxury industry, in the finance industry, roles of being a consultant and product management, areas that we've had strengths over many years and many partnerships with different employers. So in the end, and for me, and as I think about a 1-year, very intense but fun Global MBA experience, is that it's not just an experience of 1 year. It's not a transformative journey of 1 year, but of a lifetime. That you're entering now into an alumni network that will be your friends, will be your colleagues, and will be your learning points for the rest of your career.
All right. Well, that's a promise. Let's go over the admissions process first of all.
Okay.
Isn't 25 years old a bit young for an MBA?
It is. It is.
So,
yeah,
because it starts at 25 years if you want to apply or integrate this MBA.
Yep. And even younger if you look at it a particular way, right? So, so for me, it's interesting that, yes, we're very young. And actually today, if I can toot the horn a little bit, we jumped up 16 spots in the Financial Times rankings, which is not just about France or Europe. This is worldwide rankings of the 100 top business MBA programs, full-time MBA programs. And we're jumped up to number 54. And being such a young program, to have that growth, but we grow on the platform that is ESSEC Business School that was established in 1907 with very humanistic values of that business and responsibility go together hand in hand. So in a sense, ESSEC was responsible before being responsible was cool, if you could say it that way. And so, yes, it's a young MBA program. However, the faculty, the research that we do, the education, pedagogy experience we have, I think feeds into making it a lot more mature than the number of years that's been existing.
All right. During the admission process, right, you had to go through the GMAT or the Tajmaj. Which one did you choose, the GMAT?
GMAT, yes.
How did you prepare for those tests, for this test? How well did you do first?
Yes, I did well. I got 640, so it was a
That's quite good. That's quite amazing.
Thank you.
So how do you prepare for those tests? For those watching, and like maybe I don't want to apply because the GMAT is too hard for me. How would you? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, I think it's not very hard for the GMAT. Yes, there are standards that you would learn from their side. They would you'd have 2 tests to apply on. There's available online questions. You can train for days. There are books. So it's not hard in a sense. You can train for it. Once you train, it becomes easy or a bit repetitive. It's not that intense, I would say. Yeah.
Right, so just be cautious about the preparation month before, so you should have time to get used to it.
Exactly, like even 2 months before, I think it's a good timing. 2 months before the exam is good. Yeah.
What made you choose an MBA?
Yeah.
What? Exactly. What in your life did you like, okay, I want to go for an MBA and it's going to be ESSEC Business School?
Yeah, sure. I think for me, I was comfortable in my business. I am doing operations, so I'm staying in that. I wanted to step out a bit to learn other things, finance, sustainability. I want to grow and be a leader in my industry. And as any leader, you don't only do your thing. Like a marketing leader need to understand finance, need to understand operations. So that was the first thing. And the second thing, an MBA for a company is still a strong signal. And I wanted to have this for me. For companies, doing an MBA means that you still want to work on yourself, you still want to stop and reset. So this is also something I needed to have. So that was the two main reasons I did the MBA.
Well, makes perfect sense. One last thing before we move on a bit more into the program and everything. It's a French school.
Yes.
It's in France.
Yes.
How good at French you need to be if you want to survive in France in a French school?
Yes. In the school, you don't need to have any French, I think, like
right.
maybe basic. But if you want to stay in France, and a lot of our colleagues come at the MBA and they like Paris and they want to stay. If you want to stay, you need to study during the MBA. Already ESSEC give us French courses for us, like you can have it mandatory and then you can have an optional extra course. I would say if you want to stay in France after your MBA, French is really needed for most of the industries. But during the MBA, you will not have an issue if you don't really speak French.
Well, Ali, there's another question.
Sure.
You have an interview.
Yeah.
Did you have to go through an interview, 40 minutes interview, quite a heavy interview?
Yes.
What was asked of you? How did you prepare for it?
Yes.
Is it as hard as it's said to be, or?
No, I think I prepared for it from my experience. I think it's not hard. So they don't put you under stress, not like an interview where you're stressed out. They just try to understand your background, your professional experience, and situation you've been through to understand like how would you do in a team, in a leadership, what's your goals. It's very important to know what are the goals that you're looking at. This is an important preparation point. So like they make sure that the MBA is useful for you. I would say it's a preparation of your experience. You don't need to really have technical information about anything.
All right.
Yeah.
Another specificity of this MBA, it's a boutique-sized MBA.
Mm-hmm.
What are the advantages of having a boutique-sized MBA? What exactly does it mean?
Yeah, so what does it mean? So size matters. It's between 45 and 50 students is our goal. And exactly as she was mentioning, Sarah was mentioning, is that during the interview, we spent a lot of time to make sure that the goals they have fit what we can do for them and what we can partner with them on, right? Because this really is a partnering experience versus a very large MBA that you go into and you're one of, let's say, several hundred students. And there are very institutionalized paths that you sort of need to fit into and fit yourself into. Here it very much is a two-way street. So for example, some of the advantages of a boutique program, we have a great talent center. And so Daphne, who's our talent center manager, we just came back from London, one of our learning expeditions. And many of the companies were chosen. Every year it's a little bit different. We don't go back to the same companies on this visit in London because she looks at the personal career goals of the participants and tries to line up companies that fit those career goals. So we did a little bit more sustainability this year because we have a group of participants that have come in with some real strong goals around sustainability and other types of industry sectors. So that's one of the advantages, right, is the Talent Center is helping you craft your own personal narrative for your career. On the course side, given that we're a boutique, we're a smaller section, then obviously just the main faculty to student ratio is much better, especially when you get into the electives. They're going to be 16, 17 students in a class, much more hands-on, much more with the professor.
New design in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you change? Sorry, wasn't the previous one good enough? That's it.
Why
not?
Yeah, it was good. But one of the things that, as any business, you have market shifting. So the ground is shifting underneath the MBA currently. And many of those that are looking to do an MBA, you're at this point in your career, you've 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 years into your career. You may be managing a small team or two, and now you want to expand your view of business. However, as we talk about what business is versus when I went to a master's degree sometime in the past, now it's
not so far ago.
Not so far ago. It's yes, we're going to do well for the shareholders, but now there's a stakeholder approach. So this idea of responsibility, this idea of giving back, of leaving a legacy, having sustainability. So that's one of the shifting that we had plenty of courses around sustainability, but we weren't offering a way for someone to come back and do an MBA and then focus on sustainability. One of the other drivers of economies is entrepreneurship, is being able to have an idea, whether you come back and you, for an MBA and then you launch your own firm, or you're coming back for an MBA and instead of going the large consulting or corporate route, you're actually working for a scale-up or a hyper-growth startup. But you've gotten that training and those competencies during an MBA. So adding those two concentrations to the one of digital leadership now expands our ability to bring people in. And 2 more seconds here to explain
obviously,
a little
it's
more.
fine. It's okay. It's okay. I mean,
Is the Career Learning Labs, this one thing I'm really happy and excited about is as I look across different MBAs, I don't see anything similar. Where many times this idea of training yourself for a role or for an industry, you would think, yeah, business school should do that, but that's a process skill, a skill that is more about socializing within the role than a content, a course. And so to put that, squeeze that into a 4-grade course is almost antithetical to being able to learn about the industry. So we've taken a long history with luxury, for example, great partnerships, amazing alumni, and taking that content and turning it into executive education type workshops, which are you're learning from the practitioners. You're not learning for a grade, you're learning because you want to go into the industry. So now they're having a year-long experience still within luxury or within finance as an industry or within the role of consulting or within the role of product management, which are all things that we already had strengths in.
Just to be clear, the 4 career learning labs are luxury, finance, product management, and consulting.
Yes.
But we know exactly what we're talking about.
Yes.
You mentioned a trip to London. It's called networking study trip.
Yes.
Is that another way of saying traveling abroad, or do you actually work and network there?
Yes, yeah, we actually network there. So,
So how was it? Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was really good. First thing, the program there is intense. So like really we visit per day 2 or 3 companies. We are diverse, we have different goals. So we visited companies in the tech industry, in the consulting industry, sustainability. So everyone had something to go to in the visit. Of course, there were the luxury track as well who had their own companies to visit. The good thing is we don't just go and learn from the company. We get at the end 30 minutes, 20 minutes to network with the people from the company. So you get to share perspectives, you get to connect with them even on LinkedIn, which is very important in the MBA, the network. So it was really networking and understanding things. For example, in tech companies, everyone thinks that they need to have the technical experience or the artificial intelligence experience. No, there can be business. This is something you learn from the MBA. They need marketing experience, operation. You don't need to be a tech savvy. So like it was very good from that sense.
All right. Did you go to other countries? Like you went to London? Did you have other destinations or just London?
Yes, it's planned Berlin in March. So London was the first one, but we still have Berlin in March.
All right. And I was wondering as well, as a former, I mean, not former, but you were working before you applied. What kind of pedagogy did ESSEC use to make sure that you, even though you were working, yet you found interest in learning there?
Yes.
What kind of pedagogy was used there?
Yeah, I think you don't go and have a free year, like people say, from work doing an MBA.
You don't?
No, it's not. It's very
Unfortunately, you don't.
Unfortunately. No, it's really intense. And you think you're adding value to yourself, we're learning something new. For me, for example, I was very confident in my work. I think I know everything and stuff like that. But when you go in, you think you have no idea about finance, no idea about marketing. And being in a position or leadership position, you need to do these things. ESSEC puts you in teams all the time. You're always presenting something. You're always learning something that's out of your comfort zone. So even for me, I was working, I still feel challenged. And that's important for someone who's working, the daily challenge that you would have. Like, this is how I think they're making us feel still excited.
Right, the daily challenge. And here we have the expert question challenge. So become a responsible business leader. You have responsible in it. How does this MBA addresses ethics and the negative impact of business industry on this world?
That's an awesome question.
Thank you.
So let me see if I can answer it. So I think the first thing comes to mind, and I know it's an expert question, but we'll see if Sarah agrees with my answer.
Let's see.
Is that the whole first half of the MBA, they're working on, in teams, they're working on a sustainability for good challenge. So this past year, led out by one of our sustainability and ethics, actually he is a doctorate in philosophy, where I have a doctorate in philosophy and organizational behavior.
All right.
His doctorate is in philosophy, and so he specializes in responsible innovation. And so this year, every year it's different, the project, but they worked with the city of Chamonix. So this is a very iconic place, but you think about what happens, what is happening, what's the responsible way to attract tourists to an area by the very question of having them come is creating the vicious cycle that we're dealing with.
Exactly.
So they split up into 6 teams. Each team had a very thorny question to deal with from very logistical and operations, but everything is about how they can be ethical and responsible for this goal that Chamonix has of responsible tourism while still sustaining their growth. Last year we worked with Oxfam out of UK, looking at how to a sustainable way for micro entrepreneurship. So that's one of the main ways. So it's not just coming and sitting in a class and learning about ethics, and you have different philosophies of ethics. It's putting it in practice that actually has real impact. So in the end, these folks from Chamonix took those recommendations, and the feedback we've gotten is they're planning on implementing these recommendations. So it's not just done even for play, it's done for reals, as they would say.
Would you say it's the do, reflect, and learn approach, something like that?
Yes.
Does it have anything to do with it?
I think that's a good way to say something that's really important, right? This idea of, we talk at ESSEC overall, we talk a lot about learn by doing. And that works very well for the Grande École, for the Masters in Management, where many of them are, let's say, pre-experienced. On the executive side of the house, with Global MBA, with executive MBAs, where they've done a lot of doing already, but because of the fast day-to-day pace, a lot of times they don't have time to reflect. So even though it's intense but fun, the idea is we're learning but doing, and we're doing, reflecting, and as we reflect, then we're able to really learn and take it into the next phase of their career.
We keep saying it's intense but fun.
Yes.
How intense is it? We've heard that. I think we understood that it's very, very fun. But how intense is it?
Yeah.
How much work does it take, basically?
Yeah, it's intense in the sense of most of the days we have classes from 9 to maybe 6:30, sometimes 7. So like this is the classes. Of course, there are breaks inside, but this is the main classes. So it's intense. Yeah, sometimes. And then you get to do a lot of projects. Like after class, you need to meet up with your team. It's also from intense but fun. You have a lot of networking events. You have companies coming usually on Friday, representatives, which is very nice to be there, but also it's intense in the way like you really don't have a lot of spare time. But I would say at the end, people find a way to really find times to enjoy Paris, visit everywhere, but it's still intense, yeah.
Would you say that you've developed your inner leader? As ESSEC says, you have to, normally it's helping you develop your inner leader. Has it worked for you? I mean, it's not finished yet, so maybe not entirely developed, but would you say things have changed for you already?
Yes, I think so. I think you develop this because also we come from very different cultures. Even at work, we have this, but not that intense. It's not like you sleep and you wake up and sleep with 40 people from different cultures every day, really. So you learn that your style of leadership will not be okay with everyone, and the same for everyone else. So you need to change the way you might think about leadership. You might think that maybe my deadlines are some way, other people assume deadlines in a different way. So I think this changed, and I learned really about different cultures from this. So I think, yeah, I'm learning more.
Internships, global field project, sorry, or venturing project. How will those boost your students' career? What is it exactly we're talking about when we say the three words?
Yeah. So those are three options that they have as the career accelerating experience, right? So what you're moving into, right? Sarah's moving into mid-May as we finish off the courses. So those three choices really depend upon what you're trying to get out of the MBA. So I'll start with the easiest one, and this is will be new and the launch starting in 2024. Is the venturing project. So this is for the handful of folks that might be coming into an MBA to launch their own venture. So they would start getting help from our ESSEC Ventures, which has a long history of helping startups. Some of companies that people in France recognize, Content Square, Colonies, and others. And they would spend those 4 months looking at how to start up this venture, a business plan, even starting to build their team, possibly getting funding, etc., so they can launch. The other two, which would be more traditional experiences, really depends on the Global Field project is in a team of other ESSEC MBAs that's sourced by ESSEC, and this is for folks that we're switching industries completely, or I'm switching my function completely. I need to have a little bit more structured time to have some experience in that particular field, role, whatever it is, so that when I go for the full-time job, I'm much more attractive. And so that's that option. Then obviously the internship is what everyone would assume is an internship. You're working full-time. ESSEC has partnered with you to find that internship, but you've been very proactive in finding that internship, and we have pretty good returns on many of those internships turning into full-time jobs. So every year that continues to increase the number of internships that convert into full-time offers.
Do you know which one you're going to choose between the three?
Yeah, probably the internship or the work experience directly. That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, after May or mid-May. Yes.
Do you want to stay in Europe once you've graduated?
Yes.
Would you say this MBA will help you reach your European professional goals?
I think 100%. I was already in Paris before I started the MBA, and I was trying to maybe jump in a leadership position. I used to apply a lot, and really the amount of people coming back was tiny. After the MBA, yeah, I think having the MBA on the CV is helping a lot. I'm getting much more replies from people. And not only that, I think we took courses which might seem to others as basic, but really how to do your CV, how to make your LinkedIn profile appealing for employers. All of this really changed my chances to join the companies that I want to be in.
Yeah, that was my next question. What about the Global MBA Talent Career Center? How is it helping you? So doing your CV, cover letter,
yes,
allowing you to be part of the ESSEC community and therefore having access to the alumni network and all the offers you could have?
Yes, exactly. And I think one more thing is that we get to have monthly meetings. You can book our leaders from the talent team anytime you want to discuss anything. Before having an interview, you talk to them, even if it's in French, in English. You book with them an hour so they train you. The CV, it's not just they give you a template. I had so far 3 sessions for my CV and how to make it better. LinkedIn and how to do your personal pitch, which is very important. We took at least 4 sessions on that. So it's very important, and they put a big highlight on it. It's not like something on the side. It's a core thing. I think it's really important. It's helping.
You only have one chance to make a good first impression.
Exactly.
That's why the pitch is so important, and that's why the conclusion is very important as well. Last words. So basically, we're going to conclude maybe things we haven't said already. Maybe you want to highlight something like intense but fun. That could be one thing we can highlight as well.
Yes.
I will let you start, Sarah.
Thank you. So maybe, yes, I would go on the same, intense but fun. So maybe we described intense. But from the fun standpoint, I'm really happy to be in this international culture. 16 nationalities, it's not a small thing. You don't even get this in an international company if you're working on a specific project. People are really interested to know about your culture. You're interested to know about other people's culture. So it brings like a sense of happiness all over the place. Faculty team are really nice, or the cool team are really nice. They're supportive. Your teams are supportive. Really, you can do all the mistakes you want and no one will tell you anything. Like really, everyone's trying to help. So I think this is something to highlight. All the trips to London, Berlin and everything, of course it's for work, but you also enjoy dinners, you enjoy networking. So this is the thing maybe that's also important. Yeah.
And you learn by doing, but you learn by doing wrong sometimes as well. That's why mistakes are so important.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
David, I will let you conclude, having the last word.
Sure. So I think I go back to maybe one of the words I started with, which is transformation. And we a lot of times think about a transformative experience as something that is done at a particular point in time. But I really think, as we sort of step back and think about this very intense experience, because it really is intense. I mean, hats off to these folks that it's day in, day out, and it's 18 hours a day, working with each other and being able to get these things done. But the idea is that they're learning how to transform themselves over and over and over again. As we've learned the past just decade, you look at the different events that we've had in the world, we've all had to reinvent ourselves and transform ourselves. And in this 1 year, they're learning a process by which they can work with others, they can collaborate, they can influence, and they can learn by themselves and with others, which are the basic ingredients to any transformation that they might need to go on through later in their career. And now they have a large family to do that in, which is the ESSEC Alumni Network throughout their life.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Sarah. Thanks to the two of you for answering my question. I'm going to quote you as a conclusion. No matter your aspirations, the ESSEC Global MBA has a career accelerating experience waiting for you. That's the GMBA ESSEC Business School. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.